Alright, OzoneTCG here. I am Sean, and today I am with...
Zohair Khan. I just made top 8 of the February Remote Duel YCS. Feeling pretty good about that.
This is crazy. This is what, your second YCS top?
Yeah, I made top 32 of the first Remote YCS earlier this year.
This is a
Or
big year
earlier
for
last
you.
year, I guess. Yeah.
Very big year for you. Do you have any shoutouts before we begin?
Yeah. Shout out to Noel Cord. Shout out to Ozone, of course, best team.
Mhm.
Shout out to Brandon for building the deck I used to top OICS 2 times in a row. Shout out to Blue and Colin for lending me cards to use. And shout out to Lewis and Joe. I honestly think I outdid my own expectations. I went undefeated in Swiss on day one. I went 8-0. I beat Pac, I beat Cody, I beat some others, which was cool. Day 2, I won round 9, and then round 10, I was paired against Douglas, the Plunder player,
Mhm.
and I lost to him, but I ended up second in Swiss after Swiss was done, and I made it to top 8
Nice, nice.
in playoffs.
I guess we'll start with the deck.
Yeah, let's get into the deck. Yeah, so I played 3 copies of Cyberse Gadget, 3 copies of Dotscaper,
Mhm.
and 3 copies of Firewall Guardian. These 3 cards are the only 3 Cyberse monsters in the game that, when linked off, provide you with another level 4 lower Cyberse monster to be able to do the Disciple Devotee combo, which I'm sure a lot of people know by now, ends in DPE plus Scythe or Lancia. I opted to not play Signet Mining because I found that the Signet Mining discard, at least in testing, I found that it was pretty detrimental to the ceiling of what most hands can do, because a lot of the times you're already discarding cards with the Brave Engine off of the Journey. And so I just wanted to max out on the monster names themselves, so that if I saw a Cyber starter, I didn't have to commit any other cards in my hand to go through the normal summon, and I would have as much gas as possible in my hand to deal with the other things.
So I
Deal with
imagine
other
they all have
things.
their own pros and cons too, depending on what you open.
Yeah, Cyberse Gadget summons a token, doesn't lose to Bell. Uh, Dotscaper is a level 1, and so if you use this as a starter, then on following turns, if you have a Cyberse Gadget, you can normal summon it, revive a Dotscaper, and now you have 2 link material. When Cyberse Gadget gets linked off, you have even more. That's a relevant interaction. I'd say Firewall Guardian is the worst of the 3. Just because it's a level 4, and so it can't be revived off Cyberse Gadget. And also, if it summons itself back from the grave, it banishes itself when it leaves the field.
Mhm.
Yeah. It has a second effect, where if it's in the grave and a link monster you control attack battles an opponent's link an opponent's link monster, you can banish it from grave to negate the attack and set the attack of the opponent's monster to 0. So you can turn this into a Link Disciple, Lingeribo, keep this in grave, use your Link monster to attack a Link monster someone else has, and then use the effect of Guardian from grave to negate the attack and set the monster to 0 and crash over it with something else. But that didn't come up during the event today.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Aside from that, I played the Fusion Destiny package.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 copies of Fusion Destiny. It's the most you can play right now. Card's crazy. DPE carries the deck almost, I'd say. And then Celestial and Dasher. They're just the 2 best engine requirements you can play for the Fusion Destiny.
Hmm.
Dasher came up quite a few times today, summoning a card from my hand without
Yeah, you
taking
play
it
a
to
lot more
normal.
targets now, so...
Yeah, for sure. Here's a really cool part of the deck. The Brave cards, I played
Yep.
3 copies of Water Enchantress, 3 copies of Rite of RME Seer, 1 copy of Foolish Burial. These are your 7 starters to start the Brave Engine. And then I played 1 copy of Wandering Griffin Rider, 1 copy of Dracoback, and 1 copy of the Fateful Adventure. I think one of all of these 3 is pretty standard. Dracoback was a really cool card all day, especially with Eldlich cards. Like, a couple times I was like summoning a monster under Adventure, adding Dracoback to hand, then using Eldlich effect to pitch itself and Dracoback, and then re-equip Dracoback to the token. Bounce something, and then use Dracoback as material to summon Eldlich from grave. It's pretty neat. It synergizes really well with the rest of the deck.
Would you ever play more Griffin or Adventure like some other decks are doing right now?
I honestly don't think you need it. All the extra space in the deck goes towards hand traps, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a little bit, but it's basically you have as many powerful starters as you can play. You've got the couple of engineer requirements for those, and aside from that, it's just hand traps. Yeah, you just have like your powerful plays that keep tempo in your favor, and hand traps to stop tempo from going in your opponent's favor. So aside from Brave Engine, I did decide to play Magician Souls today. So I played, didn't have room for more copies, but I played 2 Illusion of Chaos, 2 Magician Souls, and 1 Preparation of Rites. I don't think I would change this ratio. If I were to play more copies of Preparation of Rites, if I were to play more copies of Souls, I would definitely add Preparation of Rites as copies, let's see, 6 and 7. Just because of the possibility that you ever open like 2 copies of OA into Souls. You want one of them to be a prep so that you can summon Souls and convert the dead card into a new draw. But yeah, I basically just wanted to play enough copies of Souls to resolve it twice, and I played prep as the 5th copy.
And how Souls did for you today?
This card was incredible. The cool thing about this deck is that you don't have to draw like all 3 engines. Like you could draw Cyberse Gadget and Magician Souls, and that would let you like do the Cyberse combo DPE Scythe through Nibiru, or you could go, or if you activate Right summons a token, puts Fateful on the field. You can summon Souls, grab Dracoback, and then add Griffin Rider to your hand, send Dracoback, equip it, bounce something with Dracoback, and then Souls lets you draw 2 for free by sending Dracoback and Adventure. And a couple times throughout the tournament, I ended up like drawing a Cyberse card off that. And so I'd have like the negate, the Souls, and then I normal summon a Cyberse monster, and that's Cyberse combo through Imperm and any other hand trap because of the Griffin. It's really cool.
It's a level 1, so you can bring it back too with Gadget?
Yeah, it's also level 1, you can bring it back with Gadget. It's really good. You can revive it off Selene. One of my rounds, I think it was round 8 or something, I revived a Souls with Selene, and I used its effect to send a single trap from hand to grave, and drew into an Eldlich, which was enough. And then I like used the Eldlich effect to send something, revived it, and then Soul Selene for access code, plus Eldlich was 8,800 per game. That was pretty clutch. And then for the Eldlich engine, I played 3 copies of Cursed Eldland. This card is really good. It searches Eldland, or it searches Eldlich. It helps you break your boards. Along with that, I played 2 copies of Eldlich. It's just really good going second card, especially in like this kind of format where this just trades with the Brave card and then summons itself back. Or you can like use this and force a DPE, summon itself back and force something else. Use it to out M-Pen. It worked really well today. I played 3 copies of Sanguine. That's pretty standard. And then I played 3 copies of Conquistador and 2 copies of Huaquero.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is pretty standard for the Eldlich deck. When I was playing this as a near 40 card deck, what I was doing was I played 2 Conquistador just because I needed to find room in the deck, and what I found a lot of the time was that not only was I seeing too many Eldlich cards in my hands and like not having enough gas to play the game, but I was also running out of gas because I didn't have enough Conquistadors or Huaqueros in the deck. That's something that pushed me to play 60 cards so I could play the full Eldlich engine and have a lower ratio of Eldlich cards to my main deck so I don't draw as many in my opening hand.
So if you see Souls of Cursed Outland, what do you usually do?
If I see Souls with Curse Eldland, I'm probably just going Eldland for... Like, if I don't have any other cards, I'll go for Huaquero, just
Okay.
because it's the worst Golden Land card. I'd like to have it as fodder. I'd search it, summon Souls, send both. If I have like another card to send or I want to attack over something on the board, you can like send Lord to kill something
Mm-hmm.
and revive it from grave. Otherwise, you could send a Conquistador, draw 2, make DPE. Huaquero Conquistador turns into double Sanguine, and DPE pops one of them to turn into whatever Golden Land you want. It's really cool. Like, just every card, every engine in this deck synergizes with the other.
Okay.
Yeah. And so aside from that, I played just a whole bunch of hand traps. Again, 60 card, bumping the deck from near 40 to 60 cards basically let me maintain the same hand trap ratios, or close to the same hand trap ratios I was playing when I was playing Cyberse Eldlich before the Brave cards came out.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was playing that deck, like, there was a lot more room for hand traps and I was able to play a lot more going second cards. Once I played the Brave cards, and I started missing, like, seeing hand traps going second, and so I played these hand traps, and I think the math worked out that around 50% of the time I saw 2 hand traps on average.
Mm-hmm.
And like close to 85% of the time I saw 1. So I played triple Ash, triple Ghost Ogre, triple Nibiru, triple Impermanence, triple Droll and Lockbird, and then I played double Effect Veiler.
Okay.
I think Effect Veiler is just worse than Imperm this format. Just because it can only be used on your opponent's turn and only during the main phase. You can use Imperm to like turn off a DP on your turn, or turn off an M-Pen on your turn.
Or Eldlich discard fodder, yeah.
Or Eldlich discard fodder, exactly. The reason I chose double Veiler is just so I have access to Halq Selene.
Mm-hmm.
Just Halky Fibrox, summon Veiler, make Selene, revive Veiler back from grave. And I played 2 copies just so that any of my tuner hand traps, including Veiler, could turn into Halq Selene. Because if I only had 1 Veiler and I summoned Veiler to make Halq, I wouldn't be able to make Selene off the Halq.
How many how are the other hand traps?
Honestly, they were pretty great all day. Nibiru was really good. Ogre was really good against the Brave engine. Ash Blossom was turning off Fusion Destiny and Water Enchantresses all day.
Mm-hmm.
I think Droll and Lockbird really overperformed. Because I was using this on like Flunder players, on Dragon Link when they used their first search. I used it on PK when they used Water Enchantress to search right, or when they used the Journey to search the Equip spell. Because then if you droll them, it turns off their Silent Boots, it turns off their Ancient Cloak, and it really gives them a lot less gas to do their combo, and like can sometimes force them to just go DPE pass, or like Scythe DPE without any Fog Blades to back it up. And then for the final 2 cards, I played one copy of Lancia. It's just another hand trap. It's pretty good. It's not good against everything, but it does have pretty good coverage. It's good against Flunder, good against PK. And the Scythe.
Okay.
This card needs to be banned. It's really good.
Did main deck Lancia ever impact any games? Game 1?
I think it did. One of my games, I opened Lancia and I just shotgunned it, and it stopped them from using Right and what do you call it? They're PK monsters.
Okay, yeah.
In game 1. So I guess I got lucky, but it worked out really
brutal.
well. Yeah.
It's brutal. Alright, I guess on to the extra deck.
Yeah. So in the extra deck, we can start with the Link stuff first.
All
So
right.
for the Cyberse combo, I played one copy of Link Disciple.
Mm-hmm.
It just tributes a card it points to draw a card, put a card at the bottom of the deck. So if you have like a Garnet in your hand, like a Dracoback or Dracoback, an extra artifact, Celestial Dasher, any of that, you can just put it back into your deck, replace it with a fresh card. Another cool thing is that you can add the Dracoback. You can add Dracoback off the Brave Engine, and then put that back into your deck, and it's like you're drawing one card instead of cycling a card out. Played 2 copies of Link Devotee. It just needed for the standard single Cyberse monster combo to make Scythe DPE or Lancia DPE. The first one summons 2 tokens, and the second one triggers Dogda to set the artifact. I played one Lukrembo. This card was really good. It just forced out Fog Blades. It is a dark monster that the Cyberse cards can turn into. So playing Lukrembo meant I could like summon my dark monster, make Lukrembo, summon the Cyberse card back, and then make Dark the Dark Charmer.
Mm-hmm.
Which won me a couple games. Played Dogda. It sets the artifact monster.
Have you ever used the other effective Dagda?
To summon a card back from grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eyesight Sanctum. And
Okay,
yeah, it's a couple of my games. I just made Dogda. I would like set a Lancia from the deck and then use Sanctum to go for Scythe. And if they negated it, then I'd go DP effect, chain Dogda, put the Scythe from deck, pop it, and then pop the Dogda on like a following turn to side lock them or Lancia lock them again.
Good.
Yeah, this card summoning an artifact back from grave when destroyed is pretty impressive.
Yep.
And then I played 2 copies of Verte Anaconda.
Okay, so why 2?
Yeah, so the normal Cyberse combo requires 1.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, if you open Magician Souls in your hand, you can hold it up until the point where you summon Verte. And if your opponent Nibiru's you, that turns into a token, which turns into the next card, Link Spider.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can summon Souls. Souls Link Spider turns into a second Verte. And you can Cyberse combo your opponent through a nib, which is really nice.
Very good.
Again, just another way to just all the interaction, all the different engines interact really well with each other if you open 2 of them. I played the DPE, and then after that I just played good Link monsters. I played a Lina and a Dark, just the 2 best Charmer Links. I think
By
Dark
far.
especially, this card's crazy. I revived a Boral Sword with it once and killed with that. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And they're spellcasters, so they can also just go into Selene. I played Halki Fibrax just so that any of my tuners could go into Selene.
So, is Hulk only here for making Selene?
Yeah, Hulk is here pretty much just for making Selene. Sometimes I used Hulk to like get an extra body just before making access code. If like I used a Charmer to make Selene and I got interrupted. Yeah, it's pretty much just a Selene machine.
And how often does this come up?
Pretty often. I think I killed with Hulk about 4 or 5 times today.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got the Selene, and then I played one Nightmare Phoenix. This is like the flex spot in the deck. This can be Phoenix or Unicorn. Some people play the Magistus Link one I think it's called Artemis.
Artemis, yeah.
Yeah, to like link off the water
Enchantress.
enchantress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or turn souls to a light monster.
Yeah, it didn't really come up for me today, but Phoenix is pretty good. I think I used it to force back row out once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
And the final card in the extra deck was the access code talker.
Yeah.
Just closed out games. It was really good.
And finally, we got your side deck. Yep.
Yeah. Honestly, I think today I could have built my side deck a bit better. And I can go into that in a little bit. So first off, for monsters, I played 3 copies of Gamma and a Driver. I think this is one of the best hand traps in the game. It's only good going second. And so I only brought it in going second. I would like side out as Spare Hook Arrow, hand traps that are bad in the matchup, or like the one of Preparation of Rites for it.
What would you side it verse? Or what would you put it in verse?
Honestly, any deck that uses monsters. Like against Flunder, I would take out my Nibirus because the deck is really good at playing around them. I'd like take out the Nibirus and one Hawk Arrow for these. Or if I was going first, then I would like take out the Nibirus and like some other card, like the Nibirus and Scythe. It just performed really well. Almost every single deck in the format just has some monster effect that is crucial to the combo, that if you negate the activation and destroy the monster, it really hurts. I played a single Pankratops. In theory, it's really good if you open it and play it, but never saw it. Didn't come up, I guess. And then I played 2 copies of Lancia. I just wanted more copies of Lancia to be able to Imperial Ironwall decks that were really hurt by it. It did wonders today. Really good against PK, really good against Flunder.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I played 3 copies of Sanctum. I think this card is cheating. Because it's just good against every single deck. Like, if your deck doesn't lose to Scythe, it loses to Lancia. And if I flip Sanctum, like, it doesn't matter if you hand trap me on my turn and stop me from playing, I'm stopping you from playing and, like, regaining all that tempo and potentially winning the game from there.
Card is cracked.
It's incredible.
What is Sanctum's pop effect? Is it the skip the battle phase, or is this the pop one?
Yeah, when Sanctum is popped by an opponent's card, I can just target a card on the field, destroy it.
Destroy
that didn't come up for me. But yeah, like the one time it came up for me, like someone just lightning stormed me. I chained Sanctum and I summoned a Scythe from the deck, and they didn't have a card on the field.
Yeah.
So pop didn't come up. And then for spells, I played a single Called by the Grave, put this in going first every time. And then I played 3 Cosmic and a Feather Duster. Surprisingly, I didn't bring these into any of my matchups today. It just didn't really come up. Like these 5 cards in my extra deck could probably be something more impactful. Like I saw Rehan say he was playing a similar deck to mine. He was playing Cherries in his side deck. And I think that's a pretty cool card that I'd consider playing, because in a DPE mirror match, if you get rid of your opponent's like chance at making DPE, that puts you way ahead of them in terms of tempo, and it really lets you just like take advantage of all the resources that you have that they don't, because you're getting continuous pops and you're getting the draw 2 when they aren't at all.
So besides those 5 side spots, would you change anything about your list?
I don't think so. I think the main deck and extra deck were optimal.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I went 8-0 in Swiss day 1, ended in first on day 1. Day 2, last 2 rounds in Swiss, I won round 9. I lost to the guy who went. I lost to Douglas. He ended in first, and I ended up second in Swiss. and yeah, it just worked really well. I don't think I regret any of my deck building choices, except for maybe these 5 side slots that could have been something
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. Top 8 is pretty big accomplishment.